You mentioned diet. Why isn't that stressed more, especially to people who are undergoing treatment or who have cancer or have had cancer?
I do not know, because I can attest to this. Not one doctor told me what to eat the whole time, other than the one when I went to the one that was integrative. My 3 oncologists, my surgeon. In fact, I had a little spat with one of my, I call him oncologist number 1. I went in and I was in the infusion suite getting my chemotherapy, and I'm looking at the lady across the chair from me, and she's got adriamycin dripping in, and they call that the red devil. And she's got on an oxygen, she's got an oxygen tank with a little nasal cannula, and she's very frail, and she's sitting there eating a hamburger and some French fries. And then catty-corner to me was a young man with a recurrent brain tumor. He's got Nutter Butters and a soda. And I just thought, wow, these people, they voluntarily walked in here, sat in these chairs, voluntarily let these people start dripping the toxic, poisonous chemotherapy into their body. And then, so they obviously want to live. They want to live, or they wouldn't have come in here and gone through this process, but yet they're eating food that is not providing nutrition. So I Googled the definition of food. Food is defined as something that gives nutrition to a living organism. Well, I was looking at what they were eating. There's no nutrition in any of that. In fact, their livers are having to work really hard to get rid of all that, and they're messing up the phospholipid membrane of the cell. So even if you take a bunch of vitamins, it's going to breeze right by because your membrane of your cell is so rigid. So I went in and talked to my oncologist, and I said, hey, do y'all have any kind of nutritional program around here? And this is a huge institution I was at. You know, you see their commercials on TV. And he said, oh yeah, but not really. And he said, we have some classes. I said, but I'm talking like in the infusion suite. I said, maybe y'all should have like a bowl of green apples or some nuts or something. And I was getting nowhere with him. All he was doing was looking at my labs from the morning and looking at the calendar to see when he could schedule my next infusion. So finally I said, I looked at y'all's snack machine out there in the infusion room, and picture the typical snack machine at a motel. You know, when you travel, there's a motel and there's a snack machine in the little room by the ice machine. That's what was in the infusion suite. And I said, do you realize, I said, y'all have a snack machine out there? And I said, it's full of junk. And he actually looked at me over his glasses and looked up at me, and he said, my dear, I am not in charge of the snack machine. And this was my doctor. And so I thought to myself, and I should have said it, sometimes you walk out and you think, I wish I had just said that. I should have said, well, my dear, you are no longer in charge of me, because that's exactly what I thought. And I did that my 4th infusion, and I left and went to oncologist number 2. I think there's no money in that, and I think they don't have the time. They get so many minutes with you, and they have to have a billing code for that to get paid. And there's no money in the budget, I guess. I mean, all these doctors are driving nice cars and live in huge houses, but there seems to be no interest in telling people, to drink, limit their alcohol, and not smoke. I don't call that prevention. Yeah. And I don't call mammograms and PSA counts prevention either. I call those trolling for business. I say when the American Cancer Society and Susan G. Komen wages a war on sugar, I will truly believe they want to beat cancer. And I don't see that at all. In fact, I attended a luncheon sponsored by Komen, and as I walked out the door, they had these beautiful girls dressed, beautiful baskets with ribbons on them, and they presented each lady as she left, these are breast cancer patients, with an iced cake pop. And so you can assume that I declined the parting gift. So I just looked at them and I was like, are you kidding me? And I'm always embarrassing my friends because they're like, Jenny, just be quiet. But it's wrong. Yeah. You don't give someone who's wearing a wig or wearing a scarf, who has no hair, who's fighting for their life, you don't give them an iced cake pop. Yeah. I don't understand it. So I guess they made me mad enough to where I did the research and I wrote this book, and I tell people I have 10 different tests that you can get on your own and to find cancer early, so that you can then be an advocate for yourself, because unfortunately you have to be an advocate for yourself if you want to live and survive the disease, because it's very much beatable, especially if you find it early.